Welcome to the London Coffee Festival Virtual. I'm Celeste Wong from The Girl in the Cafe, and today I'm in the studio with Eversys and Alpro, joined by my friend, World Barista Champion, Dale Harris, and Alpro's very own Sierra Yao. Welcome to you both.
Hey.
Hi. Today we aim to take you through a journey through a collaboration which demonstrates Eversys' new ShotMaster Pro model using Alpro's plant-based products. Here with me in the studio is the star of the show, the ShotMaster Pro model.
I'm going to be honest, it's big, it's intimidating. I worry that it may be kind of more advanced and expensive than I ever could be. It's got more screens than anything else in my house. But you know, that sets a really big promise on kind of productivity and what it can do. It does a great job of that kind of perfecting the recipe that you set for espresso. So I know I can trust this machine to deliver the goods for espresso.
It's nice that you can calibrate the milk to such a perfection. With plant-based products, we know there's a little bit of a rep where you're not able to steam it very well. It's very tricky to work with. But I find that with this, variability of function, like we're able to calibrate the milk to a standard that is easy to work with on the bar.
What are your thoughts, Dale, on the productivity levels that this machine can actually do?
I mean, first of all, it's got 4 grinders. So you can have 4 different coffees running at any one time out of all of these kind of dispensing chutes. So we can have, single origins, decaf, a couple of different blends to suit different things, maybe even to suit different plant-based milks.
Precisely.
You could even have a different coffee for each of our plant-based products. So
the possibilities.
that's pretty impressive. 700 espressos an hour. I think that's kind of incredible functionality, and most importantly, it's not just that it can do the volume, but it can do volume and consistency, time after time. So 700 espressos to the recipe you set, and when it starts to move away, it self-corrects.
So Sierra, as a barista, what do you think the commercial realities of this machine is?
In the back of this, which no one can see at the moment, we actually have 4 different milks plugged in, different plant-based products plugged in to the back of it. And working as a barista, a lot of time is spent switching your milks in and out and getting rid of cartons. And with the Eversys ShotMaster Pro, you're eliminating a lot of that faffing about in workflow, which I think is very important. You're trying to bang out 700 shots an hour a day. Yeah, so it definitely increases the commercial viability of what we do.
I want to know your perspective on how these automated technologies are going to support plant-based proteins through milk temperature, and also how does it support baristas?
So I think especially with the ShotMaster Pro, each milk tornado can host up to 2 different milks on each side. So today we have oat milk coming out of this one, and we've got coconut and soy coming out of the other. And what I find most helpful as a barista is that it actually purges after every every shot of milk, every dispense. And in terms of hygiene, especially post-COVID, that's going to be a very important topic on people's minds. And just in general, I think it's good bar ethic.
Just for allergies, it's just like everything's going through a separate line, everything's clean, everyone can kind of trust that they're getting what they were promised.
For sure.
One of the other features of the machine with that 1.5 step is you can control how much milk comes out, or how much of whichever product you're using comes out, how much the foam quantity is, so you get the correct amount in your jug for the drink you're pouring. And you guys both know that when you're a barista working on bar, particularly with the smaller drinks, when you just get the occasional order, it's just so hard to steam just the right amount of milk for one drink.
You're just chucking it all down the sink.
Yeah, and it just adds up. And it's, it's that 15 mils every single drink over the course. And if you're doing 700 drinks an hour, that's a lot of 15 mils.
Right.
And I just think that's a really incredible feature, that it's kind of quiet and nobody really notices it or talks about it, but just removing wastage from the equation, that's going to have impact on water usage and the plants being grown to produce the products, and all of those kind of knock-on effects that we see from the cafe.
Why don't we? I know, I've got a good idea. Why don't we do a competition, and it's like master versus master, hey? And you guys make me a coffee.
Yeah.
Possibly, let's go with a coconut latte. So both of you guys making a latte. I want you to manually steam the milk.
Okay.
And I want you to use the 1.5 step milk system.
That takes a lot of pressure off me, I have to say.
Right, let's
I
go.
won't, should I, and I won't, look, you could like swap the cups over when you give it to me,
Okay.
right?
Sounds
Or
good.
whatever,
All
or
right,
not.
let's do it. Dun, dun, dun. So I don't even have to steam it. I'm just waiting.
But don't you miss the magic?
I don't, no, no, not really.
Sarah, since you've got a few seconds of spare time,
Yeah, I actually do.
I just have a question about the coconut
Yeah.
milk. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
So basically, our coconut drink is made with coconuts from Indonesia. So we tend to ship them over by boat to lower our carbon emissions. But also, we pad it out. We pad the coconut out with a little bit of soya because it needs protein in order to foam properly and to keep that microfoam quality. And yeah, otherwise you're just not going to get quite the same texture on top. You're not going to get quite the same amount of mouthfeel.
That milk looks really smooth and creamy.
Yeah, it's very, very silky on the
Yeah.
top for sure. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
You're just
Okay.
I'm good,
double
thanks.
parked.
Overall, Sierra's coffee, her coconut latte, is a little bit more, has a little bit more milk texture, a bit more foamy. If you like that kind of more aerated texture, this was great. And also, I couldn't really taste the coconut so much. It actually surprised me. It kind of more tasted like a regular dairy milk. Dale's one actually was very tasty. I could really taste the coconat in it.
Yeah.
And it was sweeter. So maybe that's because it was hitting the sweet spot in the milk temperature. What's interesting is this one was done manually.
The benefits of all the different ways we can program it is I can set that manual steam arm to stop at a certain temperature. So we can take that one, that variable away either way, but I can't take away the variable of the texture and the temperature and the time. And just when you're steaming manually, you're kind of juggling all those three things. So if I don't get the texture I want before the temperature gets there,
Yeah.
there's no way back and I have to
can't-
pour that milk away.
Yeah.
But if you've got that recipe perfect for this plant-based product and for this coffee, it's just gonna do it every single time.
Yeah, so basically,
pretty
if this was a
amazing.
cafe setting and you'd just given me the feedback you'd given me, I would say, okay, I've actually programmed this milk to be, or this product to be,
65
something
degrees.
like 65,
Yeah.
but then you've told me that it's a little bit tastier at a higher temperature, so then I'd probably raise that to 67, and that would be replicated every single time. What's
Should
next?
we do a flat white, an oat flat white?
Yeah,
let's see what we
let's
can
do
do.
that. Okay.
Okay, oat
So
milk I
again,
feel more
Sierra's
comfortable
going-
with.
Hang on, I'm gonna just rinse this.
So Sierra's going to make an oat flat white using the 1.5 step milk system, and Dale is going to manually heat the milk.
One. Yeah.
I'm amazed by this texture. It looks beautiful.
It does. I'm really impressed by the milk texture. The hardest step in that is actually for the barista is actually to steam the milk so that it gives them the texture which enables them to be able to
Well, it's
draw
also
in the
the
coffee.
hardest thing when you're trying to teach someone, when someone's learning, trying to teach them both those skill sets, particularly when they're a beginner, is almost impossible. Because if the milk isn't right, they're never going to be able to learn to pour a pattern with it.
So if I was a new barista and was learning how to do latte art, I would have this milk as, a very concrete reference as to the quality that I want to pour with,
Totally.
the temperature that I'm aiming for, and then I could kind of practice and compare it, in real time.
What about if I asked you to make me a soy macchiato now?
Even smaller. Okay.
So how would that work, Sarah? Have you got something programmed for a small amount of milk? For the
you
1.5
can
step?
do, for sure. For the 1.5 step, yes.
I'm kind of jealous. I think we should probably swap with this one.
No, we're not gonna. Okay. Looking good, looking good.
Okay, so there's a real difference here. It is really hard to steam a small amount of milk at a high pressure, so I get why it was more difficult to do it manually. Do you find that different alternatives are better with different kinds of coffee beans?
Coffee isn't a monolith. It's processed differently. It's coming from different origins, you know, and there's new processes every day. So I never want to be prescriptive and say to a client, you know, you're using a Kenyan, so you're going to go soy. I think that's such a single-dimensional way to view coffee, and that's not how I was raised in this career. So.
You know, I love some of the flavors we get when we mix coffee and, say, dairy milk. That can be, you know, a great thing. But I don't really want drinks that just taste of cappuccino.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk about coffee, I want to talk about flavor. And if I can say, well, actually, this coffee, you know, we put this with the almond milk or with the oat milk, and it's going to pull out this flavor. Or let's say we've got a coffee from Brazil, which is kind of milk chocolate, and we've got almond flavors. And if that's actually going to pair better with like the sweetness of coconut, and being able to widen my customer offering and make it much more intentional, you know, that's what I'm in coffee for.
Wow, I am really impressed by Eversys' new ShotMaster Pro model. We've heard today that it can produce 700 espresso shots per hour. It has 4 internal grinders, 4 bean hoppers, which means you can make 4 drinks, and it can be hosted by 2 baristas at the same time. And if you're using their 1.5 step milk, then you can have more time with your customers. As we've discovered today, the machine can host up to 4 different milk types, but produce 2 at the same time with no cross-contamination. It can also adjust water and milk temperature, either manually or automatically. And Eversys e-foam and micro air dosing technology means that you're able to steam a variety of milks or plant-based products, which I think is great to have as a choice to either use manually or automated technologies, so that ultimately, along with a banging cup of coffee, at peak service, the barista gets to spend more time on the important things like interacting with their customers. So thank you so much, Dale and Sierra, for coming into the studio and showing me this. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too.